Hello, this is Jack with John Stuart Mill Society. I thought I would weigh in on the recent Trump ban or attempt to ban transgender folks entering the military. Um, I'll come right out and say I'm not a fan of Trump, but if you're listening and you are a fan, I don't. That's okay with me. That's my philosophy: is open debate, open discussion for everyone. Um, I'm also not a fan of his ban or attempt to ban folks. However, it's not as simple as people like to think. People like things simple, and they're rarely simple. We like to look at things in black and white, where it's very simple. You either support the ban and you're a horrible person, or you don't support the ban and therefore you're a good person. It's not as simple as that. So I'd like to try and tackle some of the issues that actually surround this, which I think I have somewhat of an expert view on, considering that I was in fact in the military myself, so I can relate to this a little bit. So I believe what Trump said was that it was too expensive, which, as I said, I don't agree with his ban, but it's actually kind of there's a nugget of truth to that, because it's not cheap to do all the medication and surgery and whatnot. So if you are in the process of transitioning and you plan to have the military pay for that while you're in, then that actually would be kind of expensive. But it's not a reason to ban people. So that's not really a good argument, really. But it actually is true to say that it's not exactly a wise investment to invest in somebody that you know you're going to have to pay lots of money to for their surgery, medication, and all that. But as I said, that's no reason to ban anyone. Another problem, which is actually not a concern of the government, but the actual trans folks, is privacy. That's a sensitive subject, you know. I don't think most folks want that kind of information out in the open. A lot of people, especially if they've already transitioned, as far as I understand, I'm no expert in this area, of course, but as far as I understand, most of them want to keep that private. They want to remain as invisible as most other people want to be. They don't want to be in the spotlight and all that. And once they can pass as the opposite sex, they usually, I would think, rather, I don't know, but I would think they wouldn't want to be broadcasting that they've had all this surgery and this long process and all that. It's kind of a private matter. But if you're signing up for the military, all your medical past has to come to light. So that's not something that can remain private. And your medical records are going to be passed around and reviewed and all that. And so, as I said, that's no business of the government, but that's something that is an issue I think trans folks might not like, but I don't see a way around that myself. As far as actually being in, there are different physical requirements, physical standards for males and females. So it's a little tough, because let's say you are a male that wants to transition to be a female. Are you held to the physical standards of the male or the female? And at what point do they switch? If they switch to the female standard, at what point? Is it as soon as you start your transition? As soon as you say that you are going to be a female, or that you believe in fact that you are? That's a tricky situation, because the standards are lower, but the fact that you're biologically male will give you quite an advantage over biological females. So let's say you switch to the standard of the female. That would essentially, let's say a few years down the road and all that, where this has become somewhat of a norm, that'll essentially put us in a situation where all of the most, I should say, of the most physically um, uh, advanced and capable females will actually be biological males. So, and this matters for promotions and such, because it's not just physical exercise that we do or that we did. It's you also do tests, physical tests that matter for promotions. And so if you do really well in that test, then it's going to help you get promoted. And so the biological males that have transitioned to be females will have quite an advantage in that realm. Is that a problem? It could be. It's certainly something that needs to be addressed. As I said, though, I'm not a big fan of Trump, nor am I a big fan of his idea to ban folks. It just seems lazy to me, because there is a problem, as I laid out already. There's a problem that needs to be addressed, but his answer seems to be, well, it's too difficult to even address it, so let's just ban them all. That's ridiculous to me. But as I laid out already, there are some tricky issues that do need to be addressed, and it's not like everything else. Pretty much, it's not black and white. I think the problems that I laid out can be addressed properly, and then after those problems have been addressed, then there's just no reason at all to ban folks. But yeah, it's just we need to speak openly about this, like adults. That's the philosophy that I'm trying to spread through this channel. It's not visceral reactions are all I'm seeing today, and this kind of man is no different. I can understand a visceral reaction, but it doesn't help. Analysis, intellectual, based criticism and debate, dialogue, and discussion. This is how you figure these things out. Not yelling, not calling people racist, sexist, homophobe. That's nonsense. This is how you tackle these issues like an adult, which is the way I'm doing now, or I'm trying to do, and many others. I'm certainly not the only one, but let's sit back and think about this. Let's weigh the pros and cons. Is there anything true? Is it all false? Think about it. Use your brain. You can do that. That's what I'm trying to do. I suggest everyone hop on board with that.